Well, 2022 has finally come to a close. I'm honestly really ready to close the book on this year. This year isn't nearly as bad as 2020 or something like that, but 2022 was just nothing really exciting happened, or it was just average, I guess. And while 2022 gave us a lot of average movies and some really bad movies, which I just talked about, it also gave us some really good movies. So many, in fact. I have some honorable mentions on here, which I didn't do last year, but I just saw so many movies, and I had to include some of these in this video in some form. Also, I forgot to mention this in my top 10 worst of the year. I didn't see every movie this year. I saw like around almost 90 movies, which is crazy, and I still have like 50 left to watch, which is insane. This year just saw me drowning in releases. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on to the honorable mentions. The Fabelmans, an inspiring, fun, and great tribute to movies. Death on the Nile, an intriguing and engaging murder mystery with one of the best finales of the entire year. Bullet Train, an insane, bloody action movie and one of the best times I've had in a theater all year. The Woman King, an epic, powerful movie with great action and phenomenal performances. Violent Night, a total carnage-filled blast with a heartwarming center. Strange World, a delightful movie that feels like it's paying homage to 2000's animated adventure movies. Jurassic World Dominion, a strange but unique and satisfying ending to a franchise I love. Nope, a different kind of blockbuster with all the scares, laughs, and thrills you could ever need in a movie like this. Apollo 10.5, A Space-Age Childhood, a magical and breezy movie that offers amazing discussions with the family. The Bad Guys, one of the best animated movies of the year and one of the best animated movies I've seen in the past decade. Everything Everywhere All at Once, a crazy, emotional, entertaining, and fun movie that just didn't quite make the list. Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, a wacky and different take on the biopic formula that was some of the most fun I've ever had watching a movie this year. And finally, Avatar: The Way of Water, a true spectacle that has some of the best effects I've seen in a while and one of the best finales of the entire year. So those were my honorable mentions. Now, let's get into the top 10 best movies of 2022. Number 10 is Scream 5. This is my favorite Scream sequel out of them all. And that's saying something because, in my opinion, there's not a single bad Scream movie, and I've enjoyed watching all of them. But Scream 5 took it back to basic. It felt like we were going back to the very first Scream movie, but it also doesn't disrespect the original in any way. It manages to do its own thing and pay homage to the original Scream. This movie also has some of the most genius meta I've seen in the entire Scream franchise. On top of that, this movie had some great and very heartbreaking kills, amazing performances all around, like everybody did a great job on this, and my favorite group of characters in any Scream movie ever. We're staying with horror now. At number 9, we have The Black Phone. Now, I just got into horror this year, and I think The Black Phone plays a very big part in that. That's one of the very first horror movies I watched, and ever since then, I've been very intrigued in the genre of horror. The movie just has everything that a horror movie should have. It's got a very creepy atmosphere, well-timed and surprising jump scare, a very scary villain, some good moments of humor sprinkled in, and a very satisfying ending. I'm just shocked how good this movie was. I didn't have the highest of expectations going in because I wasn't into horror at that time, but I came out very satisfied, and I still think that The Black Phone is one of the best horror movies of the entire year. At number 8, we have Smile. Now, Smile is easily the scariest and, in my opinion, the best horror movie of the entire year. It throws just almost everything at you, and somehow it manages to make almost all of them effective. There's some haunting imagery in there that you're not going to be able to forget for a very long time. The jump scares are unpredictable, very scary. The soundtrack is the creepiest soundtrack I've heard all year, and the ending is truly horrifying, and it will stay with you for a long time. I really can't say that I enjoyed watching this movie just because of how scared I was, but because of how scared I was, there is no doubt in my mind that that makes Smile the best horror movie of the entire year, and it deserves a spot on this list. At number 7, we have The Silent Twins. This movie is just fascinating. It's one of the most fascinating movies I've ever seen. I haven't felt this way during a movie since I first watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's downright hypnotic, and I love that. From the very beginning, this movie just sinks its teeth into you, and it doesn't let go until the credits roll. The style, the score, and the performances all put you in a trance. This movie also has the best cinematography of the entire year. In the end, this movie will just leave you a changed person, and you'll start to see life in a different way. And that's why The Silent Twins is one of the best movies I've seen all year. Yeah, I know this sounds dumb to put it this high, but I don't care. Spirited is some of the most fun I've ever had watching a Christmas movie. This movie has pretty much everything I was wanting going in. It had great chemistry between the two main leads, Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. It had well-timed and funny humor, a very unique take on an already interesting story that somehow manages to do it almost as good as the original. Very great, valuable messages that you can get something out of. I haven't enjoyed a comedy this much since I first saw The Free Guy over a year ago. And in all honesty, I think this might actually be better. At number 5, we have Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. This is easily, without a doubt, the best animated movie I've seen all year. When I was at the theater and I saw this, I was just in awe the entire runtime. It's extremely impressive how they were able to wrap you up in this world in under 90 minutes. This movie isn't even 90 minutes long, and it still somehow manages to wrap you up in this world and make you feel for the characters. The mix of stop motion and real life is incredible. The acting is incredible. I know that sounds crazy, but the acting in this movie is on another level. The story is incredible. World building in this movie is probably the best use of world building I've seen in a movie all year. And above all else, this movie made me cry, and I'm not ashamed to admit that because this movie is just incredible. At number 4, we have See How They Run. See How They Run is the second most unique murder mystery movie I've seen, first being Knives Out. And this might be the best murder mystery movie I've ever seen. I can't say that for sure because Knives Out was really great, but it is definitely top 2. I love how it's just essentially a murder mystery inside of a murder mystery. It's just super self-aware, and I love that. However, this movie still manages to craft a very interesting murder mystery that you're just engaged through the entire runtime. On top of that, the movie's funny, fast-paced, and has one of the best final shots I've ever seen. Please check this out if you haven't already. It's just amazing. Some people might be mad at me for putting this up this high, but I don't even care. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is fantastic. Just felt like it took me back to a time where superhero movies were special. And yeah, No Way Home was one of the most magical experiences I've ever had. But Black Panther just took me back to where superhero movies were cool, and everybody agreed that they were cool, and we didn't have this debate whether this movie was good or not. This movie has everything that I want out of a superhero movie. An intimidating villain, and where I genuinely, the first time I watched it, had no idea how heroes were going to defeat them. It has an awesome new hero, which I won't spoil in case you haven't seen the movie, that rises up to the occasion and learns from their mistakes. It has all the action you could want. It has great, well-timed comedy, but on top of all of that, this movie still manages to feel mature, masterfully tell a story about grief and loss, and above all else, on our Chadwick Boseman's legacy. I was never really the biggest fan of the first Black Panther, but now, after this movie, I now feel the way everybody else did when the first one came out. I haven't been drawn to any other movie this year like I have been with Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I've already seen it twice in theaters, and I'm going to see it again very soon. It's one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen in my life, and we still have 2 movies to go. Number 2 is Top Gun Maverick. This movie is just special, honestly. It feels like a true spectacle and an action movie that doesn't happen anymore because of advanced technology, but a lot of this stuff is real. It just looks amazing. This movie also has incredible characters that, while I didn't love on the first viewing, I grew to appreciate the more the movie went on, and now months later I love them. The callbacks from this movie gave me chills, and I'm not even a big fan of the first movie. This is how you do callbacks, people. This is how you make them feel special. The movie also has very emotional moments that make you want the characters to succeed even more. And the best part of this movie, in my opinion, is the finale. Not only is this the best finale I've seen all year, but it's one of the best finales I've ever seen. It's truly special, and it's one of my new favorite movies, and we still have one more movie to talk about. Alright, everybody, the number 1 movie of the year is Morbius. Morbius is amazing. I can't believe the part when Dr. Michael Morbius said it's morbing time. I morbed all over the place. Okay, in all seriousness though, the number 1 movie does involve bats, ironically. It's The Batman. The Batman, I'm just gonna say it because I really don't care at this point, but The Batman is my favorite movie of all time. I know that's gonna sound weird, but I haven't felt pure magic in cinema like this since I first saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, my previous favorite film. Literally everything about this movie is incredible. This action, the pacing, the story, the characters, the mystery, everything about it. It's just incredible. This movie just completely floored me when I first saw it, and on repeat viewings, I just love it more and more and more. I'm just in utter shock by how good this movie is. Tried to review it when it first came out, but I just couldn't put it into words. This movie is absolutely amazing, and I might just have to make an analysis on this. The Batman is the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and I love it with all my heart. Well guys, that's it. Those are my favorite movies of 2022. I'm curious, what are your favorite movies of 2022? Let me know down below in the comment section. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye. It's electric.